Hey, and welcome. Hi. All right. This week is a little bit hectic if you can't tell by me starting about 15 minutes late. But, anyways, welcome to Coffee with Katie. It is July 2nd. I'm also going to do a quick visual description of myself for folks that are listening. I am a Caucasian woman identifying person. I have short brown curly hair. I'm wearing curly wood earrings and I'm wearing a green Women of Woodworking shirt. The logo is white. So, yes, all right. So, I was not able to get all of my streams connected at the same time on cross platforms this week. So, I'm doing double duty on my computer and on my phone for Instagram and YouTube and all that good stuff. So, bear with me as I'm, kind of a little bit all over the place, but those things happen and the show must go on. So you continue on. So I hope everyone is having a good week. Who am I? I'm Katie Thompson. I am an artist, writer, and advocate. I live outside of Charleston, South Carolina. Oop, sorry. There we go. My phone. Um, I am a wife to Joseph Thompson, furniture maker and instructor, and I'm also a bacterial meningitis and spinal cord injury survivor. So I am a longtime writer. I am the author of Little Beaver Builds a Bed. I'm the creator of the Women of Woodworking Project, and I'm also a board trustee for the Furniture Society. So that's a little bit about me. My streams are on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And why do I stream? I have been thinking a lot about that this week and why I feel like it's so important for us to share our voices right now because it's a very scary time to to be yourself and to especially if you go against the norm, and it's a very scary time to even just say, hey, I don't believe in that, or I don't, it's just one of those times in the world. And I really want to create a culture of care and compassion. And I wonder, what questions can we ask ourselves and what steps can we take to achieve that, to have a more caring culture and a more caring society. We we deserve a society like that. We deserve neighbors and friends and communities and services that support us. And so that's really why I stream. I feel like I want to give space to those conversations. I truly believe that we are all connected and all have something to share. So that's really why I stream. I have another good story to share with y'all for this week, but I want to make sure I am like all on where I need to be on and things are happening where things need to be happening. So, but anyways, here is what I am snacking on drinking this week. I have, instead of coffee, I have some really nice English breakfast tea. This is the Art of Tea. It's my favorite brand of English breakfast. So that's what I'm drinking this week. And I'm really excited for multiple reasons, but I have my favorite snack from Tolucci's Bakery in Somerville, a sfogliatella. Tella? I gotta practice that a little bit. But yeah, so I'm excited to share that I'm going to start a second stream, I think. I don't know if it will be bi-weekly or monthly, but it is going to be Star Wars and snacks, where I just talk about my two favorite things, Star Wars and snacks, and kind of what's happening. Because as much as I love this stream, I realize that I'm a multifaceted individual, and not everyone wants to hear about Star Wars. Not everybody wants to hear about everything else that's going on in my life. So I think that is going to require me just to create a space that I can speak about those things there and have lots of fun. So that is what I'm planning to do coming up. So stay tuned. I'll let you know when the first one of those is happening. But I am going to do a little brief Star Wars and snacks segment here later in the stream. I also had a really good story that I wanted to share. Thinking back to the conversation of compassion and creating a culture of care. No doubt I've been through a lot, and my children have been witness to that. They're witness to it every single day. But, I let them talk to me about things and ask questions as they need, especially about, my illnesses or disabilities. And we were talking yesterday about everything I'd been through. And my son said, wow, like, if you hadn't gone through all that, like, you wouldn't be our mom, like, you wouldn't be here." And he was like, "You deserve this life." And I still, like, that is one of the nicest, kindest, most authentic compliments I've ever gotten, and to me, it is, like, straight up God talking, because that little boy is so smart and wise beyond his years, but it just meant so much to me, and that was, like, just had me thinking, like, we deserve this life. We deserve a better life. We deserve a home we feel safe in. We deserve, um, to feel safe going to the grocery store and going to school and going to church and doing all these things. And I know it feels like we are so far removed from that right now, but we cannot lose focus of what we truly deserve. And I truly just believe that we deserve a better world. And I'm going to do everything I can to try and help people realize that and do what I can to make it a better world. And that's all we can do, right? All we can do is all we can do. And you just have to stay focused on that. So, some other thoughts that I'm having this week. Unfortunately, there are reports on Facebook that another young teenager in the upstate of South Carolina, same area that I contracted it in, has contracted bacterial meningitis. This is the second teen in that area in less than a month. Like, what? Um, I haven't, been prying for updates or anything like that. It sounded very scary. What update I did, hear whenever they let me know that something was happening. But I think it just goes to show that vaccine education is so needed in not just South Carolina, but across the country. Bacterial meningitis, there are, of the Neisseria strand, there are 5 serogroup types, and all 5 of those serogroup types, the more common ones, have vaccines. And I think that, in my opinion, our vaccine schedule could be adjusted to be a little bit more protective of our children. Clearly here in South Carolina, high school students are just as much as at risk as college students, and I think that needs to be considered. And as much as I love South Carolina, being a vaccine advocate, I also am very realistic about our culture and our parenting and what we feel comfortable doing, and what the general like attitude is towards vaccines here. And while I feel it is generally positive, this is one that I feel like I hope eventually, while all colleges in South Carolina require, the ACWY bacterial meningitis vaccine, I hope that that will become a requirement for high schools. And I hope that the V vaccine and the pentavalent vaccines will become more prevalent. And the way we can really eradicate bacterial meningitis, is through herd immunity and getting as many people vaccinated as possible, because it is a bacteria that lives on us and thrives on us. And so, if our bodies are naturally ready to like fight that, that's much better than a 14-year-old child passing away because of the horrible complications and consequences of a vaccine preventable strain. Now, I will be honest, I had a strain that is not vaccine preventable. I had, not Neisseria, I had staphylococcal meningitis. So mine does not have a vaccine, is actually vaccine resistant, but mine happens only about 1 to 2% of meningitis cases, which are already rare to begin with. But I'm sorry, I think 2 young people in South Carolina, one unfortunately passing away and the other fighting for their life, is worth fighting for. One life lost is too many. One family devastated is too many, in my opinion. Bacterial meningitis itself is a horrific disease. It is torture, it is pain, it is suffering. No child deserves that. No one deserves that. No one deserves to watch their child or their loved one go through that. So, what I'm going to encourage this week is for everyone to visit the American Society for Meningitis Prevention website. That is at meningitisprevention.org, and just start getting educated. Start seeing, is my child vaccinated? Does my child need the vaccine? And I'll be quite honest, like, anyone can get meningitis, but our most vulnerable are our adolescents and our infants and elderly. So that is definitely something to consider. Um, but this just kind of brings me back to kind of my point earlier. while I want to create a culture of compassion and care, I also have to dedicate myself to creating that type of content. Like, be the light you want to see in the world, create the content you want to see in the world, be the person, that you need to be, and put the message out there that you might need, because you never know who else might need it. And I do a lot of advocacy work in my everyday life. So some of my content has kind of shifted a little bit. Um, and the causes that I am dedicated to, I'm sorry, I'm just always going to be passionate about humanity and human rights. Um, and I also just feel like I'm at a point personally where I am fortunate enough to be in a place where I can do real tangible things, go out and speak with folks, share information, educate people, about the topics that I'm uh, passionate about, or the organizations that I'm working with. And that's truly a blessing. But as far as arguing on the internet, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm past the point of arguing for human rights. I'm past the point of, trying to argue what, we know what's right and what's wrong. And I just tend to block people immediately. So that's kind of where I am. I'm not saying that I won't touch on topics like politics and controversy here. I'm not going to promise that, because I am who I am, and I'm going to stay true to what I feel like I need to have on these conversations. But I do want this to be a space where we feel safe coming and having fun and being a dreamer and telling jokes and enjoying snacks and things we love and positivity. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way this week and share a little bit more about this. Also, to change subjects really quick, I'm hoping this is the last week that I am in this room for my live streams. Oh my gosh. So, long story, I had a really beautiful office that I was not able to access very well after my health had kind of changed. So, I gave that room up to our children to have as like a playroom, really a storage room for toys and Lego sets, completed Lego sets. But hey, um, but I have been working out of a corner in our living room for years now, couple at least 2 years, and it was okay, it was alright, I could manage. I got a room divider, that was helpful, but once we started actually, like, adding on, so I could get a new office and everything, it was right where I was working, so I had to move from that space too. So I feel like I have been stuck in this, like, little corner of like our bedroom here, for months now, and it's driving me a little crazy. But I really enjoyed being in my space last week, and they're actually like doing the floors. Hi, Joe, as we speak. So hopefully, once that is done, I'll be in there for good for all of my content in my lives from here on out. I will definitely miss the big blue wall, but y'all have seen a lot of the big blue wall, so I'm excited to change it up and have my own little space. So that kind of brings me to what's happening, like project updates. Like I said, they're doing the floors right now, so I hope we're in there very soon and I can start sharing the process of decorating and setting up my space so that it's accessible, and um, just getting to create and write in a new fresh space is so exciting and thrillifying, as Glinda would say. But hopefully more to come. I hope next week my background will be pink again. Let's go with that. We'll go with that one day at a time. Some other exciting news that I had this week. I was featured on the DIY Not podcast with Michael Stein. We had a quick conversation, but it was super fun about creating community, about how I've entered the woodworking craft originally as an artist, a maker, traditionally learning, and how I have crafted my own space as a writer and advocate and community builder. And it was just a really wonderful conversation. Got to talk a lot about the Women of Woodworking Project, which always makes me happy. So if you have time, like I said, it was a short conversation, no more than 15-20 minutes. Hop over there on my link tree and you can find the link, or you can go to his website and listen there. But really great conversation. And I was super grateful to have that opportunity. That also reminds me that the Women of Woodworking Project and Little Beaver are turning 10 this year, which is wild to think about because that means our son is also turning 10 this year. But it is incredible to look at those two projects and all they have given me, all of the experiences and memories. And I'm just so grateful that they're both still going. And the Women of Woodworking project has just totally transformed the way that I interact with the craft. So um, I just am super grateful, and hard to believe it's been a full decade. That's pretty wild. So let me do a little quick check in here on my screens, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Like I said, we got a lot of lives and things, chats happening this week. Um, so yeah, so I think we're doing good. I think we're still good. Holler if you can see us. But anyways, what is next? Oh, other big news this week. I'm excited to share that the Black Swamp Poetry Zines are finally here and shipping out. They look fantastic. It was kind of an ordeal with the printer, and I'm just glad that they're here, they're done, and so I shipped out the first copies this week. I am also sharing kind of as like a poetry series throughout this month. July is Disability Pride Month, so I am sharing a poem, a video reading once a week throughout the month, and from the zine, because the topic of the zine is about my, coming of age as someone with a disability, chronic illness, dealing with modern womanhood. So it's very, very a perfect topic for Disability Pride Month. I'm super proud of it. I'm super proud of being a disabled creator. And so if you want to support independent writers and disabled creators, get yourself a little Black Swamp zine. I've only printed 24 official copies. I have some misprints, so there might be some ones that I donate and whatnot. But printed copies are $10 each, and that includes postage to the domestic United States. I also have digital copies as well. So you can check me out on blackswamp.co, or you can go to my personal website, ktthomson.com, and it will link you over there as well. So but yes, that brings me to Disability Pride Month. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing a poem from the zine every week. But I'm also really excited to share that I will be at the Disability Pride finale in Charleston. That'll be on Friday, July 25th, inside the Porter Room at Holy City Brewing. So don't worry, we're inside, rain or shine, air conditioning. It's a lovely event. I hope that Charleston, that you will come out if you are not disabled, or if you just know someone, have a loved one with a disability, or just want to support the disabled community. It's seriously, everyone is so welcome and it's so fun. It's one of my favorite events of the year. Very family friendly. I really love it. So more details on that to come, but that's Friday, July 25th. And that also brings me to the nonprofit that I would like to feature this week, and that would be Heart SC. And they are an inclusive arts community for adults, disabled adults here in the Low Country. They put on plays, they create awesome artwork, and put on great shows. They have kind of a Misfits silent auction that they do every year. I've contributed to that, and that was super fun. So just a lot of programs for adults with disabilities, and just such a positive, welcoming community. They also produce the Disability Pride finale and so many other events here for Disability Pride Month. They also have some employment events and some other things happening. So check it out. Heartsc.org is their website. You could also just Google Disability Pride SC or Disability Pride Charleston, and that will take you to the Disability Pride information. So yeah, it's a wonderful organization. This will be my third year. I think I took a year off. I was traveling one year for Disability Pride finale, so I missed it. But it's just a really fun event that I'm really grateful to be a part of. So hopefully we'll see you there. So what else am I enjoying this week? Well, I really am enjoying the Trainwreck series on Netflix. I think it's really important that we have these conversations. I started with that. I think the Astro World one. There may have been one before that that I watched, but the one that, of course, caught my attention and so many other people's attention was the Poop Cruise. And gosh, bless it, it was just really a great like hour and a half long advertisement of like why not to go on a cruise, and while I'll never go on a cruise, like at the most I could maybe do a Disney cruise to Alaska. That's like my, if I'm going to do a cruise, that's what it's going to be. But everything else, like, uh-oh. And we're back. But yeah, no, I'm just, I think I'm gonna stay on land. That just watch the documentary. I'm not gonna get too into it. I think the name is pretty self-descriptive, but also I think it was good they made it so they can see, just, we laugh about those types of things. I'm like, oh, that must have been disgusting, but it was really hazardous and it was really traumatic and scary for all those people on board. So I think it's important that we witness those experiences. And like, yes, they can be funny, but we also need to realize that that could happen, and be conscious and aware of that, no matter where we're at in the world, especially if we're on a big boat in the middle of the big old ocean. So, some other things that I'm liking this week. I am a huge history nerd, and I know I'm late to the game on getting into YouTube, but I've just like discovered its capacity to be able to like teach me things on the topics that I'm interested in. So I have been really fixated on American history YouTubes this week. Excuse me. Particularly when it comes to like battlegrounds and battlefields, since I live near one and several, pretty much all of South Carolina is a historic battleground, if you ask me. But I just have always had a real interest in it. I've always been really fascinated with the Civil War. I had one of my first like intuitive experiences at Gettysburg. So when I was a kid. So I've just always been really interested in that. So I've been following the American Battlefield Trust and the History Underground pretty closely on YouTube this week. They do some of the best, like in depth descriptions, really great visuals. They do some awesome photo overlays of like photos from, 1863 over, modern day, in different locations. And I've always had a really hard time trying to conceptualize the location of the battlefields and where the troops are, and that, and the different movements and whatnot. And I feel like I'm finally getting it thanks to these creators. And I'm really appreciative of that. It just shows you can teach an old dog new tricks. But so that's the American Battlefield Trust and the History Underground. They do a lot of American Revolution, but Civil War, and then I've even seen some World War I, World War II videos on there. They kind of do a full scope of things, not just Civil War. So I definitely recommend those two channels. And then finally, we finished A Wrinkle in Time. The kids and I have been listening to A Wrinkle in Time audiobook for their summer reading series, and we all were just enamored with it, really loved it. So once we finished the book, we really needed a story with that kind of ending. It was very heavy, but I'm just very glad it ended the way that it did. We watched the movie, which was absolutely stunning. I think it has Oprah, Mindy Kaling, and Reese Witherspoon as the three Mrs. Who, Mrs. Whatsit, and Mrs. Which. And of course, they can't put everything in the story, in the book, in the movie, vice versa. But I feel like they did a fantastic job of representing the book and the story. And I was really glad that we read the story first. So now we're moving on to Stuart Little. They have seen the movie Stuart Little before. They don't really remember it, but the book actually goes on further than the movie does. And we just needed like a fun, lighthearted children's book to read right now. Both of my readers they're going to be in, third and fourth grade. So they are both reading a little bit higher though. So trying to do fourth to fifth grade reading level, but that's also an age where they start talking about some darker things, and sometimes stories that we grew up reading, you read as an adult, you're like, whoo, okay. Like, what was one we read last year? It was about Devereaux the mouse. I can't remember the tales of Devereaux or something with Devereaux the mouse. And he was this French mouse, and there was just a lot of death. It was a really dark story, a lot of sad endings, but ultimately good in the end. And that's, if you think about how Disney movies used to be, they used to be pretty dark. I remember being scared of Snow White, and those really scary storm scenes. The witch was terrifying. That was one thing I always kind of appreciated is as I got older was that Disney wasn't afraid to say, "Hey, yes, we there's magic and there's imagination and all these wonderful, lovely things, but there's also darkness. There's a reason why you need to keep your chin up, and it's because hard things can happen and bad things can happen." And but I think it also, for me at least, has taught me to try to stay resilient and to keep an eye on the bright side. So that's one of the reasons why I really like Disney movies and Disney media in general. I know people are into a lot of different things with Disney. I'm really just into kind of the interpersonal communication theories behind their media, why it appeals to certain people, or why it appeals to so many people, especially when it comes to storytelling and emotional connection, especially across cultures. It's incredibly fascinating. So, hi, friend. So that's really why I'm into Disney, and also it's just fun, happy stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm into this week. But now we can officially finally get into what will be a new streaming series here in the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to do a little mini version of it today. Star Wars and snacks. Two of my most favorite things. All right. So our snack this week, as I mentioned in the beginning, oh, you're going to be going on a Disney cruise with the kids next week. That's Lab Thug over here on Instagram for those. Definitely check him out on TikTok too. His like rose morning welcomes are just like so calming and soothing. It always starts my day off good. Oh yeah, the Disney cruise. Well, you missed. I was talking about the Trainwreck series on Netflix, but I was saying how I wouldn't go on a cruise, but I would go on a Disney cruise to Alaska. I wonder if you're still, willing to talk about it with me, if you'll tell me where you're going. I have friends that love Disney cruises. Their ships look incredible. Some friends of mine got to go on like the inaugural cruise for their new treasure ship this year, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was breathtaking. Or maybe it was last year, but yeah, it looks fantastic. Ooh, the Bahamas! Y'all have a safe and fun trip. I hear their island, I think it's like Castaway Key or Castaway Cay down there. Their like private island is lots of fun, but I heard there's one part that's like a bit of a walk. So I don't know. You've probably been on one of these before. I'm sharing old tips, but it's just exciting. I hope y'all have a wonderful vacation. I get so excited for other people that are going to Disney too. Like, I am very grateful to be one of those people that get excited for others. And that's the wonderful thing about joy and happiness is like it's contagious and you can share it. So, woo, I'm so glad. Yay. But anyways, I'm gonna get back to my snack here that I've literally been waiting for all day. So Tolucci's in Somerville is an Italian bakery that I have fallen in love with. This is their sfogliatella. I'm practicing. I know. Don't tell my great great grandmother, but they are a fantastic Italian bakery in downtown Somerville. Oh my gosh, they have muffins, cinnamon rolls, eclairs, cheesecakes, traditional Italian cookies and pastries. They also opened up a deli and a market next door where they have really fantastic sandwiches and like hand tossed pizzas they like put in the oven as you order for you. It is like the most wonderful thing. So I have to restrict myself from going there too much because it's not good for my diet, but it's very good for my spirit. So cheers. Ah, sorry to crunch in your ear. So good. So it's made with all these little layers of pastry. I'm trying to show it over here. And then like this wonderful like Italian baking cream inside that has like a cardamom flavor, I think. Oh, it's so good. It's my favorite. I get one every time I go. I really need to change it up, but that really is my favorite. I will eat that for dinner. That would be my whole dinner. So that's my snack. The Star Wars that I want to talk about this week. You got my Ahsoka Nuimo ready? Clone Wars. I have been rewatching Clone Wars lately. Um, I will admit that I gave it a very quick watch through the first time. I had a hard time connecting with it. I think that Clone Wars is one of those shows that you need to really know more about the characters and the whole concept of the clones and where they fit into the storylines. That really helps things. And also knowing Ahsoka a little bit better, I think helped me. Seeing the live action and then like watching Rebels and all that other stuff. Um, I didn't watch it as closely as I should have the first time. Really, and that's what I love about Star Wars is I'll rewatch it, 20 more times in the next 2 years. But um, I was just really moved this time by the development of Ahsoka as a character, and I just finished season 5, and if you've seen Clone Wars, then I don't need to say anything else for you to know what happens in season 5, but just in short, um, Ahsoka has to make some really tough decisions, and a place that she thought was home turned out not to be, and, it just completely changed how I viewed the Jedi Order, completely changed how I viewed going into Revenge of the Sith, completely changed how I viewed Anakin, and I will say season 4 changed a lot of how I viewed Anakin as well. The episodes with the Mortis gods, that was a really impactful series, of episodes where Anakin, kind of gets to see what he's going to become, and the decisions he makes from that are reassuring to me of who Anakin is deep down as a character and how I think he is ultimately redeemed as Darth Vader in the end. But Clone Wars season 5, whoo, they took that right off the rails. I mean, my goodness. It's just action packed, and it also reaffirmed my dislike for Darth Maul. I'm so glad that Obi-Wan gets to off him twice, because I can't stand him, and no, I don't like him. So um, in the midst of that, I've kind of taken a break from Clone Wars and have started watching the Ahsoka live action series again. And I'm so excited because I've seen just like a couple of stills coming in and out of season 2. Oh, hi, Allison. Oh, that's my girl. Just wanted to pop in and say, I love you. So proud of you, my beautiful friend. And I miss you too. Oh, Allison, where would I be without you, girl? Like, I was, she is my sister in advocacy, and has a wonderful foundation initiative she does in memory of her son Keegan, who unfortunately passed away due to bacterial meningitis. And just getting to see the scholarships that they provide for athletes, in his memory is really powerful. So go check her out. She's always posting really wonderful and inspirational stuff. And I love you, Allison. Thank you so much. That was really sweet. Mm. See, that's why I love these things. I can't see everyone in person, but I love to yap. So I'm going to yap on here and just, get y'all's input and see what y'all say. But yeah, so I have been watching the Ahsoka live action series again, and and also just again made me just appreciate that character arc. Ahsoka's story is really sad because I feel like she has like never really known home, and she really has to kind of like, what's powerful about it is that she finds it within herself, where a lot of Jedi find it in the order. Ahsoka has decided or been forced to, however you want to look at, to take a different route. And I just find that really powerful. One thing that I've had to learn on this journey with bacterial meningitis is, you're isolated a lot. And so you've got to be able to find joy in your own company. And I mean, that's why I don't mind getting on here and talking, whether there's one person watching or 80. Um, I just having one person to be able to connect and share with. I feel so fortunate as someone with chronic illness and mobility challenges to live in this day and age. I mean, the stuff that I've been able to do from this little corner in my bedroom has been incredible. So, um, very, very grateful for that. Um, Last thing on Star Wars, and snacks that I want to talk about. I'm still listening to Trials of the Jedi. I know I should be finished by now, but doing the kids' summer reading, I want to make sure that that gets done first. So that's still what I'm reading now. I think that will be what my first Star Wars and snacks live stream will be about. Will be Trials of the Jedi. And I just see like this makes me want to go to Disney so bad. Hey Joe, I want to go to Disney. And I want to just start creating, more Disney and like magical content and Star Wars content. So that just makes people happy and makes people laugh. that's why I like Disney, is like, regardless, like, it's there just to create joy and make people feel good. Like, I just try to focus on that. I mean, really, 5 minutes at a time, and that is getting me through the days right now. So that is Star Wars and snacks for the week. Like I said, I'll let you know when I start that series, and that way you can hear me yap really more in depth about Star Wars for a lot longer. Um, so I want to move on to some of my intuitive practices and a little bit of my spiritual journey. I'm like I said, I'm excited to have my own office space again because I have kind of have different things pieced around the house. My grandmother gifted me a really beautiful angel statue in her will, and then I also have a statue of the Virgin Mary that I keep in my bedroom all the time. They're always watching over. I have always really believed in the power of prayer. I just have seen the power of prayer, seen the power of God in my own life, and I'm really thankful. And at the same time, I've had to kind of develop what I feel is my true relationship with God and with spirit. And um, Joseph and I were married in the Episcopal Church, and so being raised Catholic and doing that, have a very strong belief in Christianity, and that is where my foundations are. But I can't deny, especially with the Catholic faith, in the Catholic faith, the mysteries and miracles of faith and spirituality. And so I've really enjoyed studying other religions, studying Islam, studying Judaism, and learning those things, and just finding all of the ways that we are connected. Like, I'm definitely someone, like, I respect all religions. I respect all ways that people decide to or feel that they can communicate best with God and have that relationship is just so important and so special. And I've just always been more intrigued and in awe, in reverence of these cultures and these traditions and the power that it has in people's lives, rather than, unfortunately, letting things like race or hate get in the way. So I think that's helped me stay really open minded. I also am just one of those people, like I said, I feel things very strongly. I feel like I'm able to see things that people aren't always able to see. And when I say that, I guess I mean like the long game of things, so to speak. Like, I guess I'm just able to tell if I have a negative interaction with this person, like that's going to carry on down the way. And I just am able to keep that in the forefront of my mind. And I know that's really hard, and it's not something that I, am perfect at, but I feel like it just helps me keep myself in a place of like constant communication with God, constantly just being grateful, constantly finding and being able to see the beauty in other human beings. That is one thing, like through my advocacy work, our society and our systems tell us, that certain people aren't valued. And if you're told that enough, you start to believe it. Or even if you don't believe it, other people believe it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do to make ourselves stronger and have a better relationship with God, and also just to have a better relationship with our fellow man, with our neighbors. And that is to see the beauty in everything, even in the hard times, even in the dark stuff, even in the bad things. I especially when it comes to like forgiveness and having mercy and judging people, and maybe this is just something as you get older and you go through some things, you're like, okay, whew, all right, yeah, I'm not gonna judge anybody else. But like I said, I'm always going to try to be on the side of humanity, try to be forgiving, try to know that I'm human, I'm fallible, so is everyone else. Like, I can't expect more out of myself or out of other people. I can't. Like I said, we're human. So, and like I said, I'm able to. I feel like emotionally connect with people in ways that other people might not be able to, and I'm very grateful for it. But it can also be very overwhelming. So I just try to get used to crying in public and not getting too embarrassed by those things. But I also think it's why I'm drawn to things like Disney and happy things because unfortunately I've had to acknowledge a lot of darkness in my life. I've had to deal with a lot of pain. And it just, once you get to a place of accepting the isness, it just is of it all. Um, it's not that you stop caring, you see all the pieces fall into place. And it just starts to make sense. And I think that also helps with your acceptance. And I feel very lucky to be someone in my life that has, paid attention, been fortunate enough to be shown and given blessings that I see the impact that they have. And I see the impact that a kind word has. Um, Gosh, even today I had physical therapy and just everyone is so supportive and so positive there. And, as I was leaving, there's an elderly man. I'm the youngest one at physical therapy. So there's an elderly man coming out of the elevator and he's got his cane. He's trying to hold the door for me. I'm trying to open the physical therapy clinic door for him. And we were just laughing, but it warmed my heart. And everyone that works there is so nice and kind too. I just needed that, like I'm tough. I will not, I'm not going to pretend like, my nickname was Ice Queen in college. Like I can be hard at times, but things do hurt my feelings. But honestly, positivity and joy, like they melt me more. So I feel very grateful just to have had that experience today with that elderly gentleman. I hope that he had a good PT session. That they didn't wear him out too much because I'm sore now. My goodness. Oh my. Um, so yeah, so really this is a week I know in astrology, Uranus is moving signs. It has been in Taurus, which is my home sign. It is moving into Gemini, which is very chatty, very busy. And that is really happening, I believe, next week. But we're going to be feeling it. And I've love Chani. I love her work. I have her Astro Guide. I listen to her podcast every week. July 4th is just sounds like it's going to be an exciting day. Energetically, I know that the country itself is in a very unique place, a very hard place and time. I know for a long time, at least some of my peers and people that, academics and people that I, follow and read and respect have had a lot of really mixed feelings with July 4th. Is it really their Independence Day? What does that really stand for? Because I think a lot of us feel like, okay, like the whole reason we're here is because of the Declaration of Independence, right? The Declaration. But is it fully acting in promise? Like, is that promise fully being fulfilled right now? It's not. It's not. And I think that's why people have a hard time celebrating it. But I think also the founding fathers wrote it in a way knowing it was going to be a living, growing, document with society similar to the Constitution. But that's kind of why I'm here. I was promised equal rights, and that's why I'm not going to stop giving up. That's, and until, we are all free and we can all have the same rights. And to see things kind of actively going backwards is really scary right now. But when you think, hey, we've been in this fight, whether we recognize it or not, things are just getting really tight right now. This is when it really counts. Yeah, I believe in the America we were promised. I believe in the America that everyone deserves and everyone is free and everyone has opportunity. Everyone has healthcare. Everyone has education. Everyone has what they need to thrive and survive. And I don't even mind so much the thought of capitalism. I think that is one thing that makes America great is that somebody can say, hey, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a nonprofit. I'm going to do this. I'm going to scrap it and scrape it together and make it happen. And I love that. I love that self entrepreneurship, the self enterprise that encourages. What I don't like is the wealth hoarding. What I don't like is not paying your workers fair wages, not increasing the minimum wage, using dangerous factories overseas, destroying our planet, using up all of our resources. That is not okay. That is like the dark side of capitalism that I think we all have a really big issue with right now. And I feel like we are all feeling the impacts of. truly, politically, socially, religiously, emotionally, we're all dealing with the impacts of this large scale effect of capitalism gone completely off the rails. Um, so that's where I that's where I'm at with things, and I just want everyone to be so safe out there. People are so tense, everyone is so stressed out, and it breaks my heart because I know there are people out there that are good people that are we're going to make mistakes. We're human. Um, we're going to lose our patience, and I had someone do that to me the other day, and I thank God was able to stay cool. It turned out to be nothing, but I just have to remember, like, this person has to be just under so much right now to be acting like this out in public. And like, that's just what I first think. And then I'm like, all right, now I gotta go. That's my next thing is like, ooh, yeah, no. So I just want everyone to be careful out there, be so safe, be safe, especially as you go out on July 4th in general. There's just a lot of drinking, a lot of activities, a lot of people on the roads, a lot of boating, especially here in the low country. People are on the water. Please be so safe. Please take care of yourselves and have a good time, relax. And I hope you find peace in the way that you can, and that you can enjoy the day that you can get what you need from that day, whether it's going to work and making a buck and completely ignoring the fact that it's Independence Day, or you're taking that time with your family just to relax and regroup. And let's remember what America is really all about, truly. That's what I plan to do. Anyways, so stay safe out there. Well, it is 7 o'clock. I know I started a little bit later this evening, but I gotta finish this pastry. I'm hungry. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up. My next stream will be next Wednesday, July 9th at 6 p.m. Hopefully, I'll have all of my platforms coordinated and everything will be working. So I won't be a little late next week. But we'll also let you know when my Star Wars and snack streams will start too, because I think that will be a lot of fun for some of us to have. Hopefully, we'll be starting to focus on the new space. Maybe y'all can help me decorate and make some decisions on where to put things in my office and kind of follow along with that. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Obviously, I'm also on Threads and Blue Sky, all at electric_Katie. My website is kthompson.com, and my studio website is blackswamp.co. So, like I said, have a very wonderful and blessed Independence Day. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you. Bye.